Hello, today the subject of my drawing is a dog, and he's just eaten a bowl of mushrooms and he's looking slightly apprehensive, and the dog's name is Sydney, although that has nothing to do with the drawing, but Sydney's a nice name for a dog, so that's his name. And at the end of the drawing I'll complete the joke, and it's got a completely unexpected ending, which is what I like in jokes. You won't guess the ending until the last sentence, and it's quite funny. Well, I think it is, otherwise I wouldn't have drawn it. So once again, thanks for watching. Okay, let's do Sydney first of all, the dog. And I'm doing a pencil sketch first of all, and I've speeded up the filming in order to save time, but when I start inking in I'll do normal filming. So let's start inking in. So here we go, we're on normal filming now. So let's draw Sydney the dog laying down with a bowl of mushrooms, and I'll tell the joke while I'm drawing, and it concerns a group of friends who regularly got together to socialise and play cards, and the lady of the house would prepare a meal. When the time came for Alan and Janet to be hosts, Janet wanted to outdo all the other friends, so she decided to serve steak smothered in mushrooms. But the mushrooms were expensive. So her husband Alan suggested that she pick some of the mushrooms from the field at the bottom of the garden. And Janet said, "Well, you can't do that," she said. "Some of the mushrooms might be poisonous." And Alan replied, "Well, I've seen the animals eat them, and they seem to be okay." So that persuaded Janet. So off she went to the bottom of the garden, went into the field, picked the mushrooms, brought them back. She washed them, sliced them and diced them for her smothered steak. But to be on the safe side, she went out to the back porch and gave her pet dog Sydney a double handful in his bowl. And Sydney loved them, and he ate every one that he was given. And Janet watched him eating, and then thought, well, no side effects, so she went into the house. But she kept an eye on Sydney all morning, and nothing happened. So this convinced her that the mushrooms were okay. So she decided they would be safe to serve up to her guests. And the meal was a great success. And after everyone had finished eating, out came the playing cards. But she was interrupted. A lady came in that she had hired from the town to help serve the food, and she came in and went up to Janet and whispered in her ear, Janet, I've just found Sydney dead." Well, Janet went into hysterics. After she finally calmed down, she called the doctor and told him what had happened. And he said, "Oh, that sounds bad, but I think I can take care of it. I will call an ambulance and I will be there as soon as possible, and we will pump out everybody's stomach, and everything will be fine, so don't worry. Just keep your guests calm." Soon Janet could hear the sirens of the ambulances coming up the road. The paramedics came into the house with the doctor, with their suitcases, syringes and stomach pump, and one by one they took Janet's friends to the bathroom, including Janet and her husband, and pumped out their stomachs. After the last one was finished, the doctor came out and said, "Well, I think everything will be fine now," and he left with the ambulance. And Janet's friends were all a bit shaky and a bit weak, and they're sitting all around the living room, when Janet's helper lady came in and went up to Janet and whispered in her ear, "Do you know, that fellow who ran over Sydney didn't even stop." Well, There you go. That's the joke. So let's carry on painting poor old Sydney. So I'm using watercolour here, and this is just to give you the technique of shading. Let's paint his tongue red. And the reason I brush disappears out of view is that I've got a little palette of paints alongside me, and I'm just picking up the colour. Bit of shading in the base there. I always find that once you've done a drawing, if you add a little watercolour, it adds depth to the drawing, and it's more fun anyway. So let's dampen the back of Sydney. And we'll add a touch of blue for shading. There we go. Poor old Sydney. He didn't make it through the day. That's fine. Okay. Right, we'll just put a bit of shading on the floor, and that will be the finished drawing. Once again, thanks for watching.